Kolo, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Shalom to the house of David, the 144,000 and the one-third men, women, and children part of the elect, of the 12 tribes of Israel, you blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the church, and all you other Israelites that are scattered in the four corners of the earth, the elect, the wheat that's among the tears is going to come in and get grafted into the truth. Basically, receive the kingdom, because that's what this thing's about. The Israelite foreigner, if you want to keep pushing that, Lord willing, man, you know. They have Hebrew Israelites are people that's in India and Pakistan. You also have the Black Buddha in China. You got our people up in China too. We got the Sambos out there. We're gonna play this clip. Our people are gonna be scattered amongst them East Indians, which in the Bible, they're Elam in the Bible, man. India and Pakistan, they're Elam in the Bible. We're gonna play the clip. Israelite foreigners.
It could be a village anywhere in Africa. Locals celebrating with their centuries-old music and dance. But Jambur is a million miles from the continent, and these apparent Africans are in fact Indians whose ancestors have lived here in Gujarat state for up to 1,000 years.
Up to 1,000 years. Remember, pre-transatlantic slave trade, Israel was being scattered in four corners of the earth. The Arabs, by them Ishmaelites, them Arabs. So our people don't want to be Muslims. Guess what? The Muslims are chopping off your dicks, castrating your dicks, cutting your dicks off, putting swords in your women's vaginas because they said we had too much sex. And they had us holding posts on their doorways, man. That's what them Arabs was doing, man. They called us Yahudis because they know we're the real Jews.
Known as Scythes, this tribe of African descent retains few links with its...
It's the Israelite woman right there. Israelite woman that don't know she's an Israelite woman. Her line descends to one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Or she's following the heathen customs, speaking the heathen dialect. Israelite foreigners, man.
Mysterious past. They know nothing of how or why their forefathers came here. But there is one thing that ties them to their unique heritage.
Look at his name. The Coop. Further proof, man. They know, man. Jacob. They know. Even though they lost their heritage through slavery, of course you're going to lose your heritage through generations and generation. And you're going to follow the heathen customs. Hare Krishna, Buddhism, Roman Catholics. Wherever we are amongst these heathen nations, we're going to follow their heathen customs, their heathen gods.
In our musical performances, we are like one. We all have
Look at that. That's an Israelite woman. Look at that.
the same musical style. It's also...
Look at that. Look at that. That's an Israelite girl, man. Beautiful Israelite girl. Our people are beautiful, man. We're the soul of the earth. Acts 2nd chapter 2 and 5. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem. I read this before, I'm going to read it again. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now when this noise brought... Now when this was noise abroad, the multitude came together, and they were confounded, because that every man heard of them speaking his own language. Speaking of tongues, man, at the day of Pentecost, that's coming now. Acts 2nd chapter, the power to speak the different tongues, to speak the East Indian dialect, to speak the Arabic dialect, to speak the Philippine Tagalog tongue, to speak the Russian tongue, the Chinese tongue, to our people that scattered amongst these other nations, man. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we be born? Parthians and Medes, showing you Israelites was born amongst these different lands, amongst these other nations, man. Speaking the different dialects, speaking the different tongues. Parthians and Medes and Elamites. Talking about them East Indians, man. And the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, in Egypt, and the parts of Libya, and about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, which we brought that earlier too. Disaster, and our people scattered literally on the four corners of the earth, man. In Egypt, and Libya, we do hear them speak in our own tongues the wonderful works of God Yahweh. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, which meaneth this? Others mocking said, These men are full of new wine. Of course, mocking. That's you got the mockers and scoffers coming back, getting mad at this whole Israelite foreigner thing. Oh, you're accepting all the nations. You motherfuckers are stupid, man. If an Israelite man has sex with a heathen woman and produces a baby, that baby's an Israelite. It don't matter if that woman that he has sex with a heathen and the baby comes out looking like a heathen. You are what your father is. You fucking dumbasses.
The same when we dance.
Music and physical features are the few clues that anthropologists have to
Musical and physical features. Matthew's 5th chapter. We are the salt of the earth, man. Our people are the best musicians.
trace the cities. Some believe their forefathers were laborers from modern-day Kenya and Uganda.
Kenya and Uganda. You got our people scattered in Africa. In the land of Africa, man. Not only the west coast of Africa, where the majority of our people fled to, you have the East Africa, man, Ethiopia, man. Amongst them Cushites, our people are scattered amongst them.
Brought to India on Arab slave ships between the 10th
Brought to
and
India on Arab slave ships, Ishmael. They were known for that, man.
14th century.
And you Ishmaelites are going to pay for that too. Not only the white man, Esau is going to pay, and them African nations, them Hamites, but you Ishmaelites, you Arabs, you're going to pay too, because the word Arab means mixture. No such thing as a mixture people, man. You are the Ishmaelites in the Bible. You know that your Quran tells you that you love so much.
Traders or raiders, either way, had to bring lot of these slaves, and at convenient places they were given their freedom when the nearest landmass came.
Anthropologists believe there are up to 15,000 cities living along India's west coast. While they have adopted the local culture, most live in abject poverty, even compared
Abject poverty. That's in the curses. Wherever our people are, we're going to be suffering, man.
other Indians. Their reluctance to integrate with mainstream communities means they are often left out of development.
We have a lot to worry about. People in other villages live happy lives, but our people in
Tonight on Ease,
Now this is Pakistan. Now that was India. Now this is Pakistan.
we reveal how the descendants of African slaves struggle to find an identity as black Pakistanis.
Struggle to find the identity. Matthew's 10. We're going to bring that out. Struggling to find their identity, man. We're the lost tribes of Israel, man. We've been lost. Matthew's 10 and 5. And now we've been found through the Spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Matthew's 10 and 5. These 12 Yahushai sent forth and command them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that's what we're doing. Hey, that's a cut to that whole Gentile. God loves all the Gentiles. Well, why did the Lord say that, man? Don't go to them Samaritans, man. Don't go to them Ethiopians trying to follow our custom and trying to be like us. Watch out with them Gentiles. Don't go to them. Go on to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
On April 10th this year, Gohar Ali Mashood, a 27-year-old black Pakistani and local government
You
worker,
got our people in Pakistan. You got our people in Iraq, the black Iraqis. You got our people in China. You got our people in the Philippines. Literally scattered in the four corners of the earth. That's what it literally means. Israel's the biggest nation, not China. They'll tell you that China's the biggest nation. No, it's not. Israel's the biggest nation. Like the sands of the sea, man.
died in police custody. He'd been accused with two others of crimes including robbery and rape. The police
And
venue
where we are, we're being oppressed amongst these other heathen nations. Even though our people that are scattered amongst these other nations may look like these other nations, and they will always be at the bottom, man. Being amongst these other nations, because it's spiritual. Them heathen nations oppress Israel. Where are we at, man? Because it's that seed, man, that royal line that the Lord jacked up, man. The Lord said He gonna jack up the 12 tribes of Israel and put them curses on our people, and that curse follow us wherever we go as a nation of people, man. Where we are, we're being oppressed by the heathen nations, showing you it's spiritual. You could look like these heathen nations, you could speak their tongue and everything, but you're still gonna be oppressed by them. Why? Because those are the curses that's in Deuteronomy 28. Our people that's in India and China, that curse fit them. Our people in India and Pakistan, why? Because of them Arab slave ships. That's in the curses, man. Even though Deuteronomy 28:68 talk about Egypt, America, but our people was literally shipped in the four corners of the earth, man. Pre-transatlantic slave trade. And that prophecy kicked in at the time of the transatlantic slave trade, man.
Committed suicide. His relatives were unconvinced. The police said they'd used no violence against the accused. They showed us the cell where they claimed the prisoner had hanged himself with a cord used to hold up his trousers. Mashuk has been identified to the police by one of his fellow accused. At first, Faisal Pathan backed up the police version of events.
A lot of them Israelite foreigners is locked up amongst these other nations is in the jail systems, scattered in the four corners of earth. Scattered in the four corners of earth are Israelites too, man. We're gonna be locked up. It's not only in America, Babylon is where we at, man. We're being oppressed by these other heathen nations. We did that song with Akon. Akon, he thinks he's African and Hamite, but he's an Israelite. A lot of them cats from Senegal, the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Mali. They're Israelites. Our people still in the west coast of Africa, man. The Igbos, man. Hebrew. Yorubas, man. The Shantis. You know, our people were scattered literally in the four corners of the earth, literally. Wherever you could point at in the map, our people were scattered there. And had children with the heathen nations, man. Left seed there. So if you can't accept that, guess what? If you don't wake up out of that, then you ain't kingdom minded, man. You might not make it to the kingdom, man. We don't repent. Look at that, Israelites in Pakistan. Look at that's an Israelite. Look at our people, beautiful, man, shining. That's an Israelite babies, man. Those are Israelite children in Pakistan. Now, how you gonna tell them the truth? You gonna speak to them in English? They ain't gonna fucking understand you, man. You're gonna have to speak their dialect for them to understand.
Africans began to settle in Pakistan in the wake of the Arab conquest of Sindh in the 7th and 8th centuries.
7th, 8th century, man.
Although many came as soldiers or sailors, the majority of the blacks in Pakistan are descendants of the slaves who were brought by Arab traders along the sea routes.
Arab traders along the sea routes.
ब्लैक्स जो है ये तो मानने पड़ेगी कि गुलामी के दायरे की वजह से दुनिया पर फैले अफ्रीका उनका मुल्क है और वो जहाँ गए वो यकसा हाथों में रहे.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said?
ब्लैक्स जो है ये तो मानने पड़ेगी कि गुलामी के दायरे की वजह से दुनिया पर फैले अफ्रीका उनका मुल्क.
Africans have spread across the world due to the slave trade. But Africans, wherever they went, have remained slaves. That's the curses, man. For you assholes out there. Israel is just in Africa, man. That's it. We were scattered in the four corners of the earth, literally, man. Deuteronomy 28:16, and the Lord shall bring thee to Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, slaves. And no man shall buy you. So our people were scattered. That's talk about America. But our people were scattered in the four corners of earth. This is pre-transatlantic slave trade. That prophecy really kicked in the transatlantic slave trade, man, which was the Arabs supplying the slave trade. Their Hamites knew that we were the Jew refugees that fled there in 70 AD in the west coast of Africa. And the so-called white man Esau, man. They grabbed our people up, man, and took them to the ships. Put them in the ships. Stacked them up like sardine cans and sent them to the west coast of Africa. That was a curse. But this was pre-transatlantic slave trade. Those are curses, man. Our people still don't know who they are. That's why You're gonna have Israelites speaking these different tongues, being amongst these heathens, man, following their cousins because they've been lost. That's why it's called the lost tribes of Israel.
है वो यकसा हालतों में रहे.
Look at that, Israelites.
Every year in early spring, Pakistanis of African descent gather to celebrate a festival. It centers
Jew
around the shrine of a
refugees.
Muslim